The Magic Show is brought to you by StarCityGames.com, and check this out. On October 1st, the StarCityGames.com Open Series comes to Indianapolis, and this event is going to be huge. We're talking hundreds of players, over $14,000 in cash prizes, at least 18 players qualifying for the Charlotte Invitational at the end of the year, live coverage all day courtesy of SCG Live, and as much Magic the Gathering as we can pack into one weekend. So make plans to join StarCityGames.com in Indianapolis, and we'll see you there.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of The Magic Show. Now, this week I'm live with Gerry Thompson. And we are going to be going through the entire set of Innistrad. We're starting today with white, and next week we'll be going through all the colors. We'll go through the lands, the gold, and the artifact. And you guys are going to be here with us through the whole thing. Let's go. All right, hello everybody, welcome back. I am here with Gerry Thompson. We are going to be talking about Innistrad. Gerry, how do you feel about Innistrad right now?
It's pretty sweet. I'm excited. New set, always excited.
It seems like literally one of the best sets they've ever done.
Yeah, I mean, like the flavor's there, new cards are there. Like get to push some crappy cards out of standard too. So it's like it makes the set look even better, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen the excitement I've seen around this set is few and far between. Like,
yeah, it's crazy. I mean, there's a lot of different things to be excited about, right? So.
Seems great. So we're going to start today with the white cards, and we begin with the not super glorious Abby Griffin. It's a good card.
It's good.
How do you feel about this card in limited? Because at this point we're just talking about limited.
It's the pretty standard 4-mana 2/2 flyer with a random ability that doesn't really matter all that much. Vigilance.
Vigilance on a 2/2.
Yeah.
I mean,
not that impressive, but you know, still playable, still good.
Good with equipment.
Sure.
All right. So moving on. Now this was my spoiler, Angel of Flight Alabaster, and it seems like it has lots of targets. Seems like a sealed bomb.
Definitely a limited bomb. If you can make this work and constructed, you know, I'm probably going to say this a lot. It seems like that card needs a few more sets to be released. Because it's like, you know, you got like your human elements, the spirit elements, you know, you just need more cards to make those tribes better. And I'm sure if there's like some insane spirits, like maybe that's the top of the food chain, you know, maybe birthing pod some spirits, I don't know.
So Angelic Overseer is an interesting card. This is a card that sort of splits people down the middle because they're like, is it the new Baneslayer? Is it the new Baneslayer, Gerry?
No. It would have to be better than the old Baneslayer to be the new Baneslayer, right?
Right.
Okay.
So it's not a 5/5, so fails test 1.
Doesn't have lifelink.
And 2.
Doesn't have protection from dragons.
Come on!
So.
Doesn't have protection from dragons. Come on, man. Really? You couldn't even give it that?
Yeah.
It's cute. I mean, you know, I had, like I said, I hadn't sealed. It seemed very powerful, but, you know, the guy had 2 removal spells, so, you know, it's not the most powerful thing.
Yeah, I mean, that sucks. That's going to happen.
Constructed, I mean, like, Slagstorm just seems to wreck this card pretty handily.
Yeah.
And
Slagstorm killing all your angels is not...
Right. I feel like, you know, those numbers, when you see on the Mythics, it's like the Hero of Oxford Ridge being a 4/2. It's like that's a very odd mythic creature number to put as power and toughness. So when I see 5/3, I'm like, maybe this thing just got out of control.
As a 5/4, you know, had to tone it down a little bit.
Exactly. You know, why is it that? But Avacyn Priest is next. Now, no one likes to run the Gideon's Lawkeeper and Constructed.
Except for Luis and Brad and everyone else on Channel Fireball that played it in the last Grand Prix. But
as I was about to
beat you to it.
You did, and Avacyn Priest is just kind of the strictly worse version.
Yeah.
But it is great. I love this non-human thing. I love in Limited how it's...
Yeah, it's cool. It feels different. A lot like Onslaught, but, you know, minus like the bad morph stuff. And, you know. And Colorless to activate is pretty nice too, because sometimes Lawkeeper just keeps all your white mana locked down. So yeah, that's cool.
That's a good point. Bonds of Faith is another card that I love the design of it. I love how they do these little tribal thingies. Little tiny, like, if it's a human, it's great. And if it's not, you got them.
Yeah, for the most part, it's just pacifism, but, like, you could pump your guy if they don't have any dudes. You know, maybe if you're playing the human mirror match, then you can't lock down their guy. But for the most part, it's just better, you know?
Yeah, and if you're playing the human mirror match, I mean, you know, just +2/+2 your own guy.
Bigger.
I mean, Goblin Warpaint or whatever, you know, seems not the worst thing ever. Champion of the Parish we were talking about. How do you feel about that guy?
It's good. Needs another set or two. No, like the humans are okay. They don't seem as powerful as like some of the other tribes that have existed. You know, it's just like they're slightly undercosted, but don't really do a whole lot. You know, kind of like allies-ish, but still not even that good.
Oh wow! Really, I kind of thought they were on the level of allies. Yet maybe.
We'll see.
They're going to be another set, aren't they?
More sets, like more cards like this will come out. If nothing else, that card's going to be awesome in block, I think. So.
Yeah, I mean, if something makes some human tokens, it would be really nice. Chapelgeist is another one of those like bread and butter limited cards.
See, 3 mana, 2/3 flying. I would much rather have that over the Abbey Gargoyle or whatever that card was.
Yeah, Abbey Griffin.
Yeah, Griffin Gargoyle.
Because of the toughness.
Yeah, the toughness is so huge. Like mana cheaper.
A little bit more difficult to cost. It works out. I mean, Cloistered Youth is fantastic. I think it's neat. Like 2 mana 3/3. They just straight up printed a 2 mana 3/3. I mean, you lose a life when it flips, you know, over to Unholy Fiend, but you know, okay.
That's all right. That's worth it.
Seems fine. I mean, for me, you know, Rosewater was talking about how, you know, this is very like Exorcist, you know, the little girl turns into this terrible monster, and I love the fact that, like, once it flips, it's there forever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's flipped, you're there, you are the monster, and there's no turning back. Like,
the picture's pretty funny, too.
yeah, and it's just, this is one of those cards that could not have existed if they hadn't completely printed something on the other side of the card.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
I think that's great. Dearly Departed, how you feel about that guy?
Gotta read it.
That's how good it is.
That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
Another thing that helps your puny little human tribe out, but need a way to get it in the graveyard.
Yeah, this seems like, and they give you ways to do that, but in terms of humans, they don't really play very well with the graveyard.
Yeah. I mean, I really don't think you're going to be playing the 6-drop and having it die, and then you're like, yes. Like, that's more of a limited thing, but, like, if you could, like, careful study that thing away, you know, it'd be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, but the fact is, in limited, it's a dragon. 6 mana, 5/5 flyer.
Yeah.
I mean, that's no joke. Divine Reckoning, we were talking about. I am intrigued by those who are talking about using it with Liliana.
Yeah, I mean, that seems cool to me, but I think I'd rather just kill everything.
Just pay the same cost and destroy all creatures?
I think there's too many ways that this can go wrong. Like, if you don't have a Titan, if you don't have a Liliana, you know, then they get to keep their best guy. Just too sketchy. I err on the side of being safe. You know, like, I'll mulligan sketchy hands, I'll draw first and limited, I'll play that 18th land, and I'll play Day of Judgment over that card for the most part. So
yeah, this is one of those where if all the pieces are there, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And then when it's not,
yeah,
it's like it's the worst top deck ever. You're like, oh,
no,
you're still going to
dead.
kill me.
Okay. Flashback, though.
Woo. I mean, that's exciting, no doubt about it, when
Yeah.
you can use Edict effects with, I mean, a flashback Wrath, but ultimately.
Yeah, but even to take advantage of that plus Liliana, you have to have something awesome in play.
Right.
So,
And if you've already got something awesome in play, why do you need this spell, right? That's sort of the logic? Is that how it goes?
no, but just like, if it's so hard to get something awesome into play and keep it there anyway. You know, everyone's playing removal and standard. It's all about creatures.
Right.
So,
Okay. So Doom Traveler is an awesome 1-mana 1/1.
it's pretty cool.
I like how it's not just completely unplayable. You know, I like how it works with a lot of the sacrifice stuff. I was explaining how I used a Blasphemous Act to get a lot of tokens back, thanks to guys like this. And this is cool. I like this is nice that, you know, and again, Innistrad is so incredibly flavorful. He turns into a ghost. Like, that's amazing.
It's not incredibly overpowered or anything, but it's definitely a role player, and it's a cool card. It does something sweet.
Absolutely. So Elder Cathar is, it reminds me of the Rise of the Eldrazi guy who put level up counters on guys, you know?
Okay.
Because, you know, it was sort of in that vein of when he dies, he gives this bonus to these cards that do this certain thing. Now he's a little more freeform in that, you know, +1/+1 counters go on anything. But, you know, it's neat.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like another average Grey Ogre type thing, but you get like the added benefit, you know, if you get to trade it away, that's great. It just like kind of gives it like a little evasion, sort of.
Yeah. So Elite Inquisitor is next, and another great.
Thank God for this card, you know? Like, about time they start printing like the Katakis before these werewolf decks just take over, you know?
They got to put the stopgaps in.
Yeah.
Because they can just run you right over, can't they?
Yeah, I don't know. This card's definitely pretty awesome, and if these decks do ever take off, like, this card's going to be sick, but
yeah,
as of right now...
This is one of those cards that, like, I'm glad it exists.
Yeah.
I think it's super flavorful, but ultimately is just kind of neat right now.
Yeah, maybe block is, like, a place for it too. So
Right. And so I was explaining that, you know, as of this filming last night, I was talking to LSV about Feeling of Dread, because I feel this card is great.
yeah.
And limited. I don't know about constructed. You're actually saying some people are using this in
I've
constructed.
seen some people, you know, they put it in their solar flare decks, like they're gonna mill themselves, gets a little like Moment's Peace type effect, but it's not quite Moment's Peace, but I don't know, maybe.
I think it's a lot better than people give it credit for.
Well, I think in limited it's definitely very good.
Yeah, I mean, in limited, that card just destroyed me. I was playing werewolves. I'd flip over my 7/7s, and then they would just tap them and kill me.
Yeah.
Just like, but I got all these 7/7s.
I should just win. No, it reminds me a lot of Blinding Beam. Like it's tap 2 guys. It does it for 2 turns. You just get to split the mana, which is actually like a benefit. You know, it has to be 2 different colors or whatever, but
Yeah,
that's fine. It seems very similar to that card.
yeah, I agree. So Fiend Hunter is next. This card is Faceless Butcher.
It's awesome.
It's so good.
We're
Yeah.
such big dogs.
8 week.
We love it.
I mean, you know, what else are you gonna say? Like, it's a wonderfully efficient, nice thing to exist.
Yeah, agreed. There's like green-white creature decks, there's Bant, Birthing Pod decks, and now those decks have access to something they never really had before, you know, other than Dismember and all that, but we don't talk about Dismember.
Dismember, you know. Yeah, they made the removal spell too good. But this is cool in that, you know, I love Fiend Hunter and the Faceless Butcher mechanic in that, you know, you can exile your own guys, you know, and then when he leaves, like with a Birthing Pod, then they come back, and you can get some sort of bonus if he exiled something else. In my mind, I went Phantasmal Image, and I'm like, boy, that's dumb. Because then he just dies. Never mind. Regardless, moving on. Gallows Warden, you know, bread and butter limited card.
Yep.
5 mana, 3/3 flyer. Gives other guys bonuses. Yeah.
Very exciting.
Speaking of exciting, Geist Honored Monk, Cloud Goat 2.0.
I'm not sure. You know, you should keep saying that Baneslayer 2.0,
Yeah.
Cloud Go 2.0. No, they have to be better than those cards, I think.
To have the version upgrade.
Yeah.
So we're talking like Cloud Goat 1.1. Is that what we're saying here? Is this like Cloud Goat Beta? Like,
0.5.
I mean, you know, it's different. It's got vigilance. It's, you know, pump all your dudes.
Yeah, it's
makes flyers.
It's sort of similar, but also very different, slightly worse. Maybe the power level of the format is less also, but Cloud Goat had a lot of like Glorious Anthems and a Johnny Goldmane and stuff like that that could take advantage of having a bunch of tokens, and I think that's what was really good. And other than like Honor the Pure and stuff like that, I mean,
Do you feel like the Macias, the Lunarch guy will help out?
I guess that's a thing too. Just like another creature, you know. If creatures are so vulnerable these days.
They die a lot.
Everyone just wants to kill stuff.
They die a lot.
So I mean, it's good that this thing gets you value, and it's like another interesting thing that you can pot into. So there's that.
That's nice. So Ghostly Possession is next. That's an interesting card.
Build your own fog bank.
Whee! I don't know. For some reason, people were really excited because this card had a bedpost on it. I'm not exactly sure why. Somebody was like, I'm looking for a bedpost in Innistrad, and someone found it. And I'm like, because that's a gothic horror thing, is the bedposts and the, you know, the sheets and all that stuff and the tapestries.
It's very strange.
This is all I got for this card.
Yeah.
This is Fog Bank. It's cute. It's nice. Ultimately, you're going to give them like a silly blocker so you can not die to their huge monster. Intangible Virtue.
See, I was talking about Glorious Anthems, and you're probably going to say this is Glorious Anthem 2.0.
No,
But-
I'm not. No, I am not. I think it is narrow to a fault.
Perhaps.
Like, I don't even know if you could actually rock this in limited if you had enough.
Just given the little creature's vigilance again, I don't get it.
The vigilance is cute. Ultimately, I mean, it's nice because, you know, moving on to Mausoleum Guard, like this card was awesome for me at the pre-release.
Yeah.
Fine Man makes 2 guys when it dies. Like, that's value.
This is like the Grey Ogre guy, but just much, much better.
Yeah, I mean, he's like the Grey Ogre guy that you actually, you know, want to get out there and, you know, feel free to block him so I can have my evasion guys.
We have a couple exciting ones.
Uh-oh, Mentor of the Meek is so good!
I like that card.
Oh, I've been playtesting with that card. The card is so sick.
Yeah.
Like, when you can just cantrip off your Birds of Paradise, like,
That's a good feeling.
That is so
You're
good.
just like, oh, brick. Oh, wait. Draw a card. Yeah.
It's so, yeah, because once he's out there, I mean, everything. Like, your Mirren Crusaders, and if you're running, like, the Champion of the Parish stuff, or if you're running the Avacyn's Pilgrim, the new green mana guy, you know, all that stuff just turns into cards.
So many uses for that guy, too. Like, you can court for that guy in Legacy Elves.
Oh, nice.
So, like, court for Glimpse, basically. Birthing Pod decks, it's fine in there. There's like green-white beatdown decks, pure steel paladin decks. Like, this guy's all over the place.
He's so good. I just love how the fact that, with Mentor, you just have like constant value out of all your guys. And if there's more than one out,
Yeah.
that Bird of Paradise just draw you 2 cards. It just feels so good. It just feels so good. It makes all those little dorks that sort of drive along your deck, matter more. And I love that they made it an intro pack foil, which is nice. So the foil price isn't like insane.
I didn't know that. That's pretty cool.
People have access to it. It's going to be really nice. Midnight Haunting, 2 dudes.
Spectral Procession
Seriously?
2.0.
I don't know if I can go that far with 2.0. This one does feel like a 1.5, but it is an instant. It's a lot easier to cast. I'm not missing the boat on this one.
Yeah, you thought Procession was bad, right?
I thought Procession
Okay,
was
cool.
was bad.
But this one's good.
This one is good.
Makes one less token, but it's good. Okay. Yeah, I mean,
Lessons were learned.
these cards are very similar. It's like, Cloud Goat minus a token, Procession minus a token. It's like, interesting.
I do think there is a fact that the standard environment is getting a little less powered. We are powering down a little bit.
It's true.
There's less Lotus Cobra. There's no Valakut. There's no Squadron Hawks. There's a power level that is gone down here, and that's not a bad thing, personally.
I agree, but comparing these cards to old cards when they're just like 2/3 of what that card was, I don't think, the 2/3 compares to how that other format was,
I agree. It's different, and I'm just trying to basically just put the frame of reference in that. In my mind, I'm trying to wrap around how good Spectral Procession was with 3 guys, and this is 2 guys, but it's the end of their turn, which is nice. It's not as mana intensive, which is nice. But ultimately, for me, it's trying to get a frame of reference like Machias, the Lunarch. Are we looking at a Johnny Goldmane here? Or are we talking about like an 8.5 tails type creature?
Yeah, it's different. It is another creature and it just dies. So if you play this guy and a bunch of token makers and they kill your 1 Crusade or Lord or whatever it is, then you're just left with a bunch of very unimpressive creatures. So we need some jits, I think.
Yeah,
That's
we
what
need a
this format
broken
needs.
piece of equipment. Could they just make that? That'd be great.
Yeah, there's still swords and everything. Like, you have plenty of ways to pump your tokens, and maybe 3 mana make 2 guys is good enough. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, in terms of my very limited playtesting, I found that just putting Sword of War and Peace in anything is just put it on something, and it will just kill people. That card is absurd. Moment of Heroism is something that was it was kind of an all-star for me at the pre-release. I would go out of nowhere. They would, you'd be going back and forth in the tempo, and then one of my werewolves would get in, and then I would pump it and gain like 8 life, and then I would be right back in it. So I thought that was great.
If you have like giant werewolves, then it definitely seems good. But it seems like a Vampire's Bite, Mighty Leap, like kind of mishmash, and I wasn't a big fan of either of those cards. But 2 mana +2/+2 is like kind of weak for a trick, I think. But yeah, the lifelink is
for me. The lifelink is the clutch part because that's where you can turn the tide. Because a lot of those Vampire's Bite type cards are just it's more of the same, but it doesn't save you from the next turn. Whereas this card can.
Yeah.
And it did. It really did. Nevermore, one of those cards that like, why isn't there a Raven? So you can name the Raven. Oh.
It's not what I was thinking.
Oh, come on. Oh, I know.
No, this card's super cool.
Memory Mage enchantment.
Chris Pikula is
that him right there?
Yeah, maybe another random black female or something. But yeah, he kind of got screwed on his last card. But now there's something like this. I don't know if he should be proud of this or not, but it's cool. I like that this effect exists in enchantment form. It's harder to kill. Like if you're playing against a combo deck, like you want to stop them and make sure that they're stopped. So
yeah, I actually think that Enchantress with this and the Stony Silence that we'll get to soon actually gives Enchantress a little bit more play in Legacy.
Yeah, that could be true.
Which is nice. It's just one of those cards that they've moved it from a creature into an enchantment, and I kind of wish it existed before so we could name Hawks and Aces and Primeval Titans. But
yeah, Meddling Mage in the last format would have been awesome. I don't know about Nevermore, but
yeah, Meddling Mage would have been nice.
Yeah. Probably would have made Cobblade better actually. But
that's what I was about.
Yeah.
Boy, if only Cobblade was a little bit better. Man, didn't dominate that format. Parasaline? Is that how you say that?
I don't know.
Parasaline?
Is that a word?
Parasaline. I don't know. I'm not sure. Sometimes I'm a little too southern for my own good.
Ah, fair enough.
Regardless, one of those cards that,
Tranquility, little extra thing.
Gain some life.
The thing is not all that relevant. It's like putting Vigilance on Tranquility. It just doesn't really.
One of those cards, it's nice that it exists. and it kind of needs to exist in that, you know, Magic cards sometimes need to do things like this. Moving on.
Like this, Purify the Grave.
Purify the Grave. It's no Necrogen Spell Bomb, or not Necrogen Spell. What's the black one? The
Nile.
Nile Spell Bomb, thank you. That removes all the cards from the graveyard. But
Coffin Purge, though.
yeah, it's Coffin Purge with a flashback. Wasn't Coffin Purge literally this with a flashback?
It was black.
Okay. Coffin Purge in white.
Yep.
There you go.
I'm a pretty big fan of this card. I think it's going to have its applications. Like, Nile Spellbomb's okay, but if you're playing like a Solar Flare Mirror or something, you know, you're both kind of milling yourself, you're casting Forbidden Alchemies and, like, putting stuff in the yard, you know, they're trying to reanimate their Sun Titan or Jin Cataxius or whatever, like, you can mill into this thing.
Or Snapcaster Mage is trying to, you know,
get
cards out and whatever.
That's an okay use for it too, but I think if you're siding that card in to beat Snapcaster Mage, like, you're kind of doing it wrong, you know? Like, that's not...
I don't know if I go that in terms of to beat Snapcaster Mage, but I would say it's a nice tool to fight the, you know, oh, you're not going to be able to mana leak me this turn because I can flash back, which is cute. Rally the Peasants, you know, is the one, you know, it's the only red-white card in terms of a white cost and a red flashback, but makes me curious if they actually want you know, Boros to come back again in some fashion.
I don't know, the duels are enemy colored, right?
Yep.
So, helps a little bit in that regard. But I was hearing people say that this card was pretty sweet at the pre-release, like BDM and maybe Glenn Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Just all a buzz on the Twitter.
Woo!
If you're not on the Twitter, you got to get on.
On the sweet Twitters.
So awesome.
Woo! Yeah. So Rebuke, awesome little spell. I like it. You know, it's just another. It's a bread and butter white spell. It's like Vengeance, but not quite as
Condemn 0.25.
Condemn-ish.
Yeah.
I will admit I was building some decks the other day, and I searched for Condemn, and I was like, oh.
Yeah. Now you have Rebuke.
Yeah, Rebuke isn't quite Condemn. Yeah, it's not 1 mana. But Selfless Cathar, playable unlimited?
If you have a lot of token things, maybe. It is a human, so that's good. You might need extra triggers for, like, Champion of the Parish and stuff like that, but
Yeah, I just felt like this
definitely
card
not
was,
unplayable.
Yeah, well, yeah, not unplayable. It just felt like Doom Traveler was, you know, what this card wanted to be and what this card isn't. Which is, it doesn't give a lot of value, even when you sacrifice it. Creatures you control get +1/+1. That's not terrible.
It's not terrible.
I mean, it's an onboard trick, right? You
Yeah.
know, they can run into it. It
but
happens.
there's a lot of value if you get them with the onboard trick.
Yeah.
See, you gotta...
Yeah, put them right
it's
on
all
tilt.
about the little things.
Yeah. So you missed this. Silver Chase Fox, he's a bear. He's a bear. He's a good man.
So, Kami of Ancient Law. Ish. But you get to exile it. I'm not sure if that matters too much.
Yeah, maybe it might matter in the next set or something. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Things start to come back out of the graveyard.
Any enchantments worth killing?
Not really.
So the Fox probably won't see any play over like random human.
I don't think so. I mean, you know, he's going to like fill the curve, right, as your
Sure.
2-drop. But Flame Tongue Kavu, aka Slayer of the Wicked.
Yeah, that card seems alright for limited.
Yeah, that card wrecked me pretty bad because it killed a werewolf that had flipped, you know, or whatever, and I was just like, oh.
But he let you flip it. See, he was
Yeah, he
trapping
did.
you the entire
yes,
time.
he did. He was like, okay. Well, you know, for me, like, I had to, you know, skip my turn because I wanted to make sure they did, and I was like, sweet, 7/7. And he's just like, no, and value.
See, it's the little things. He was pretty happy. You were upset, which
Yeah.
made him even happier.
Life continued. So, in terms of like a limited sort of rating, how far would you say that card is?
I mean, kill stuff and it's white. Like,
Top tier?
yeah, it seems pretty good. I mean, I'm not really too sure how many vampires, werewolves, or zombies are in the set, but it seems like there's plenty of them.
Yeah.
You know, I haven't played at all with this set for limited, but just looking at the spoilers and stuff, it seems like, you know, those are the good cards.
Yeah, and a lot of the rares, you know, are a lot of times, you know, like the Bloodline Keeper that makes 2/2 flyers. That card is completely absurd. So you have to be able to answer that one. Smite the Monstrous was a card that some people were talking about, you know, should we main deck it, should you not? I feel you should always main deck that card in limited because it just solves all the big bombs.
Yeah, unless that's like your 7th or 8th removal spell, you know, you need another dude or something, like...
Sure.
Card seems worth playing. Like, how many limited games do they not have, like, a werewolf or some giant flyer or some bomb, you know?
Right.
Just,
Or a pump spell or some equipment.
Yeah,
or
anything.
Whatever. Seems great. So, Spare from Evil was a card that I sided in at the pre-release, and it did nothing. Like it was one of those cards where I was signing in for Moon Mist, which is another card I'm completely in love with.
Yeah, that card seems awesome.
Is amazing. And this is no Moon Mist, essentially. Basically, I was like, I've got these werewolves in my deck, and I wanted to get past the spirit stuff that the other guy was doing. So I'll just do this, and then I'll just get you. But ultimately, you have to be in a very, winning position. This is a very, like, I win now card type thing, falter, essentially,
Yeah.
and get you.
The board has to be stalemated somehow. Like, you both have to have a bunch of guys, right. And either they're attacking into you, and you get to block and kill all their stuff, or you just get to falter and kill them, and...
Right. And the problem was that my opponent had one human, you know what I mean? The one human creature, and it just wrecked me. I was just like, now he's going to block my biggest guy with this guy, and my falter isn't as good anymore. So it was a little bit frustrating, and it's for me, it's one of those learning experiences of this card does things, I think.
You tried, tried to get him.
Didn't happen. Spectral Rider, cool card.
This is a cool card. Spirit Knight.
Yeah. I mean, I love the white weenie decks. I really do, and this is a...
Yeah, they have plenty of options for grizzly bears and stuff. The problem is, like, they need better pump spells or better removal or, 1 mana 3/3s or something.
They have no Wild Mikado yet.
No,
but they've tried.
But moving Intimidate into, like, all the colors is pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree. And it's nice that, they still have design space for white weenie,
Yeah, they keep making white 2/2s and just never ends.
Yeah, Grand Abolisher and this guy, and it's like in the Inquisitor, that guy. They keep coming up with new ways to make 2 mana 2/2s interesting. But Stony Silence is a card that I totally love again for Enchantress. They've been waiting for this card.
I mean, I think just having a Null Rod ability is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Like, in any format, like people can play that against Birthing Pod and stuff. Seems fine to me.
I love playing against Birthing Pod. It stops like Sylvark Replica. It stops, of course, all the swords. Mortar Pod, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
All of it's gone. I love that. I love how R&D, really tries to put in all the stopgap stuff. There is Creeping Corrosion. There is Stony Silence.
Now it's not like they print Kataki when Affinity's already banned. It's like awkward.
They're like, we're sorry, we were planning on wrecking that deck. 3 months ago. From there. Thraben Militia is a actually it's listed first, being it's supposed to be Thraben Sentry.
So 4 mana 2/2.
Yeah, basically, as we see the
Yep.
Yep.
Vigilance, of course.
Oh,
of
hey,
course.
those humans, they like to be vigilant.
Yeah,
they are extremely vigilant.
Yeah, this one seems fine for limited.
Yeah, I mean, and then it flips, and then it's just one of those like really flavorful things. One of my guys died, and all of a sudden my guy's pissed off.
Yeah.
Like, that seems cool.
Trample makes a lot of sense and makes the card quite good.
You wouldn't like Thraben Sentry when he's angry. So about them dogs.
Those hounds.
Where my dogs at?
Pure bloods. Siege Mastodon is a little more pissed off now, I guess.
I love it, and it's cool because you actually see R&D a lot of the times say, like, White needed a Siege Mastodon. Like, they just needed a 3/5. And I'm like, I'm not exactly sure what that means.
Yeah.
But, like, they say these things, and they're just like, but it needed a 3/5. So we put one there. And I'm like, it's cute. It's one of those, like, when you develop formats, you're like, what do you need? Well, it needs a 3/5. Well, they got one.
Need the dogs.
Got to get them dogs in there. So
there's the Sentry.
Yep, there's the Sentry and the Unholy Fiend, as they are listed twice, technically in the spoiler here for as we're looking at it. So up next is Unruly Mob. I played this guy at the pre-release because I needed another human. He was unimpressive, mainly because he's just a 1/1 for 2 mana. That was really what got me. If he was a 2/1 or a 2/2, I'd have been a lot happier with him. But he required, my stuff to die, essentially, and in order to make him a grizzly bear.
Yeah.
And then he might start getting some value. So ultimately, I felt a little.
Yeah, I could see that. It's like the LG Gariel type stuff, but only for you. So it's gonna take a lot more work to make that guy good. But yeah, I mean, it is another human.
And they made an LG Gariel.
Yeah, there's a new one, right?
And that card is good, very good. But yeah. So Urgent Exorcism.
Cool card.
Cool card. One of those cards that, like, in my sealed pool, I was like, do I play this? I don't know. Because there are slight tribal elements, but ultimately, what enchantments are people running? Not many. People are running spirits. but which ones? And what if they don't have them? And then you just...
I think it's just a very flavorful, very good sideboard card.
Yep. I think it's nice. It's another one of those, tap a non-human, or if it's a human, he gets this, and if it's not, he gets that, which is great.
Yeah, they went deep for this set, I think.
They did. They went great. So Village Bellringer, they really needed another Splinter Twin target.
Yeah.
Basically. Wrecked some people with that card, though, and sealed.
Yeah.
It was a great little trick.
Oh, man. Like, horn turtles are so sweet, and giving them flash is sweet, and tapping all your guys is sweet.
Oh, I was wrecking little 2/1s, just running right into them, it was nice.
Yeah, that's a card that you learn to play around, especially a common, that's tough.
Yeah. So, Voiceless Spirit, our last white card, is another Thunder Spirit reprint from back in the day. Now, they can't reprint Thunder Spirit, which would have been 2 white and a colorless for the same stats, as I understand it. Or no, I think Thunder Spirit was a 2/2.
Before my time.
This is old school.
Yeah.
It's on the reserve list. They can't reprint it. They literally can't.
Good.
So instead they make Voiceless Spirit.
Yeah. I'm fine with it. Better than the 2/2 Vigilance. Flying at first strike, both very relevant, especially when you only have 1 toughness.
Fair. All right, and so that was our complete review of the Innistrad white cards. How do you feel about white cards in Innistrad?
Not too exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some better ones coming up because we're going into blue. Ooh. But that will be for next week. So that's been the white cards for this week. I'd like to thank Gerry Thompson. This is Evan Irwin. Until next time, we are tapping the cards so you don't have to.
I always like the fatties.